Good afternoon, good afternoon. I'm gonna have a short video today. And the title is Don't Be a Super Christian. My text will be coming from Luke 22:42. Christ was in Gethsemane, and it shows an example of him submitting his will to the Father. All through Christ's ministry, he was confident. He was the most confident man I ever seen in the Bible. He stood confidently against pestilence. He stood confidently against disease. He stood confidently against evil spirits and unclean spirits. He stood confidently against corrupt leadership who was constantly trying to catch him in a lie or find some reason to discredit the master. He was with his disciples, and he said, I send you forth, and they that believe you, believe in me. And they that believe in me, believe in him that sent me. He told his disciples one time, they said, Master, show us the Father. He said, I've been with you all this time, and you asked me to show you the Father? Here I am. You've seen me, you've seen the Father. For me and my Father are one. There's not a time where you can see Christ not stand confidently. There was a time when they were about to pick up stones and stone him, and he walked confidently through the midst of them, never being touched. Never there was such a man that had so much confidence that even the heavens opened up and declared his glory, as the tremendous, thunderous voice of the Father said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Death fled from him. No one could really truly comprehend him because he told them earthly things and they didn't understand. So how could he tell them heavenly things? He confidently told the leaders of that day that Abraham would have rejoiced in that day when he saw me. And they said, you weren't even born then. He told them confidently, before Abraham was, I am. He is the great I am. He is the rose of Sharon. He is the lily in the valley. He is, and he will always be. He's the one in Revelations who revealed the word to John so confidently. There was not a time that you saw God's will and Christ's will not synchronized, flying together like birds, or synchronized swimmers. They were always together, moving as one. But when he got to Gethsemane and he saw Calvary before him, he saw the flogging and the beating that he would go through. He saw the torture that he would go through. And he said, Father, is there another cup? If it be thy will, let me turn around and go back. Christ didn't want to go, but he said, not my will, but thy will. This is the first time that you see the Messiah's will not with the Father's will. He did it 3 times. Is there another way? Is there another cup? But nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Christ, for the first time in his ministry, had to submit his will to the Father because he did not want to do it, but he did what was pleasing to his Father. Sometimes we as believers and you as Christians think that we must have strong faith so much that we should never waver. But I'm telling you, Christ was fully man and fully God. And if he had to shriek at the future, if he showed fear of the future, if he had to submit his will to the Father, how much more? We're just mere humans. The Bible says, submit your will to the Father and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. We must submit our will. Christ is showing us an example here of why it's so much important for even him as a demigod. He had to submit his will to the Father. This is the one and only time where his will and his Father's will were not the same. He said, not my will, but thy will be done. This is a dichotomy. It doesn't make sense. Here, the most confident man of God that ever lived, found himself bowing to the Father, saying, not my will, but thy will. Let me tell you something, super Christian. You want people to walk to the beat of your drums. We want people to obey the word as if it was the very words of God himself. But we don't meet God where he is. God masters in meeting us where we are. And he meets every individual where they are, and they don't have to measure up to what you think or anybody else think they should be. Only God knows where we should be and where we are in our walk, in our everyday walk with him. So many, oftentimes, Christians put a false face on as if their faith is so tremendous, and they say little faith, little power. Big faith, big power. That's a lie. All you need is a mustard seed. All you need is a little bit of faith to move a mountain. You don't need a lot of faith. So don't think you have to have the faith of Jesus. Don't think you have to have the faith of Elijah. Don't think you have to have the faith of Moses. You have the measure of faith that God has given you, and you walk in that faith, no matter how weak you think your faith is. But we must, every day, on a daily basis, we have to submit our will to God, because our will wants to go the other way. Our will wants to go against God, but his will, not our will. If you continue to submit your will and tell the Father, I don't want to do it, I don't have the ability to do it, I don't have the will to do it, but not my will, but thy will be done, the Father will impart his will in you. I don't care if you're a promiscuous woman. I don't care if you're a promiscuous man. I don't care if you're the biggest sinner in the world. All you have to do is submit your will to God, and he will accept you just as you are. God bless you. And remember, the messenger is praying for you.